like I said, today's topic is impersonation scams. So, imperson- impersonation scams are when a scammer pretends to be someone that you trust to convince you to send them money. So this can be anything from someone you know personally, like a friend or a family member. This can be something as big as the US government or Geek Squad, Microsoft, McAfee, Amazon, the US Postal Service, IRS, pretty much any kind of major organization or business is something that a lot of scammers want to take advantage of that trust that the public has in those organizations to convince you to give money or to take your information. These scammers, like for example, common that one that we're seeing is that scammers pretend to be either a bank or an agency employee, like they'll say they're from Kohler Credit Union or from Bank First, or they're an employee of a tech company, like they're from Apple or they're from Amazon or they're from Microsoft. And they'll convince you that you need to protect your funds by taking them out in cash, or especially when it comes to bank ones specifically, they're looking to try to get you to take money out of your account. And then for like the tech ones, they'll maybe have a pop-up come up and say, hey, we're going to fix this. I'm going to make sure you get your money back in your account. And they might put in a false page and have you make it look like you just lost a certain amount of money or they gave you a certain amount of money and you need to fix that issue. They'll definitely try to make it a very high stress, high emotional situation. They want you to be nervous, they want you to be scared, and want you to react accordingly. And then the cash, they really like to use Bitcoin as their thing because, again, Bitcoin is not a regulated form of currency. That's a frequent way that scammers like to go after those funds, or gift cards sent via wire, things like that, so that that way they can get that money without having that point traced. So, why are these impersonation scams so difficult to spot? A lot of us are like, if I get weird text messages from Amazon or wherever, I'm just going to ignore it. Or I'm not going to pick up any phone calls. But they do a really good job of convincing and sounding reputable. And again, they're using the name of an organization or business that's really a very reliable one. And so they want to take advantage of your lack of knowledge about that business, like technology or about banking. And they really want to take advantage of that and push you into a situation where you're feeling uncomfortable, you're feeling scared, and you're relying on them to make these decisions and following what they tell you to do. They also coach people to lie to their financial institution. They'll have you come into the branch on the phone with them, or they'll say, hey, I want to be listening in on this. This is what you need to tell them. And if anyone is telling you what to tell your financial institution, that's a red flag because you should be able to have that open conversation with the staff to say, hey, this is what I'm withdrawing this money for. You shouldn't be scared or have to lie to them to try to get money. And like I say, it may start with a computer takeover or a pop-up. We have an example of that coming up here in a little bit. But again, if you're not super familiar with technology, it's super easy to have something pop up and be like, I don't know what this is for. So always take a little bit of caution when you have some of those things come up. Double check with a family member or friend to have them look at it. Otherwise, you can work with your local financial institution to see what those kind of things can get resolved. You can also call the agency or email an original authentic email address or phone number to make sure, like on the back of your bank card or on your technology, so that way you can reach out directly to the person to business to verify if that's actually an issue or not. So again, that email looks very real. Phone call sounds very serious. This is an example of an Amazon Prime scam. So this one, they're saying your membership is set to renew, but you need to fill out these documents in order to have your account reconfirmed. And if you don't update before 24 hours, your account will be permanently locked. And of course, if you're someone who shops on Amazon frequently, that can be a little freaked out. You can be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was coming up for renewal. I didn't realize that my card isn't up to date. This is something that's important, and 24 hours is not a long time. But if we take a step back and then take a deep breath and be like, okay, let's reread this email, you can look a little more closely and see that there is attachments. Now, Amazon does not send attachments. Um, they will have you go to your Amazon account and deal with it there. They won't attach forms for you to sign. That can often be malware that they get you to download. And then you also can see that the email that it's coming from is not an Amazon email address. It's from mailer/w83@mail.com. Like, that's not something that Amazon would do. I always tell people businesses are very proud of their brand and will not be having employees or anyone affiliated with them sending out emails from an email address that is not from their website or with their full legal name on it. All right, let's look at another couple. So these are text messages. Again, a lot of us have our phones set up that we get auto reject the calls or we have caller ID. Text messages are a little different because they pop up and they have more information. So for example, the first one is an Equifax alert. Oftentimes a lot of people get their credit score from there, and it gives dear account owner, your score has dropped 51 points. Now, if your credit score drops 51 points, it's a valid thing to be concerned about. However, if we take a breath and look back at it, you can see clearly that this link for the website is nortimer.com. Equifax is equifax.com. So clearly not the right link for what you need to look at. You can also check that on your information. If you've used Equifax before, you would have an account number that you could look back at and verify that it's your account number. And then you can log into their website and verify that if it's an issue. The next one is a UPS package can't be delivered. Follow this, fill out the link again, all this kind of stuff. US Postal Service is not going to send you a link with info trick on the bottom. Like, you should just look into your account, and if it's something that you're concerned about, that there's a package missing or something, go to the website directly, go to your account directly and look it up there. Don't trust a text message to tell you if there's an issue with your packages. And finally, this is the big pop-up thing that we're seeing a lot. So this is something that comes up pretty frequently with Microsoft scams. They'll have a spam notification like this come up. They'll say that app financing track, access to this PC has been blocked for security reasons, call Windows support. This is not the process that Windows uses to handle any types of infections and things like that. This is not, so I wouldn't call that number that's on there. I mean, it looks kind of legitimate, but if you look a little bit more closely, the logos don't match up with the current Microsoft logos. And you can see here that there is a lot of intimidating language going on. So they're saying immediately report it to halt the auto deletion of files. They're not going to auto delete your files when you're going through a thing like this. So it's important that you take a step back and say, okay, I'm not going to call the number that's on the screen. I'm going to call the number I have from my original materials when I downloaded this, or I'm going to restart my computer. There's a couple of different steps you can take rather than just calling the number that's on there, because that's probably how they're going to get a hold of you and then talk you through this whole scam process. So that covers it today for impersonation scams.